Here's what a possible cut to Medicare could look like. I saw an article that talked about the Vice President Mike Pence from Indiana, and they talked about the Medicare or Medicaid system in Indiana. And what it was talking about was that in Indiana, they made changes to the Medicare or Medicaid system. And the changes that they made affected poor people. So I'm thinking now he's the vice president. Now, what is he going to do? Is he going to implement those same changes he made in Indiana? Or is he going to just leave it alone? But I see that the Wisconsin senator, or whatever he is, what is his name? I forget the guy's name. Paul Ryan is aiming at cutting Medicare or Medicaid. And so all these dudes are sticking together. All of them are Republicans, so therefore, most likely they're going to do it. Something's going to change about Medicare or Medicaid. But back to Mike Pence from Indiana, who's now the vice president under Donald Trump. The thing that they did in Indiana, which he did a lot of things that I didn't know he did, but the thing they did in Indiana was put a copay on Medicare or Medicaid. Put a copay on Medicare or Medicaid, so it might be $50 every time you make a doctor visit or whatever. But eventually this will, depending on the doctor visits that older people have, this will kind of dig into their pockets and take money out of their pockets. So I don't think this, whoever thought of this really cared, or most likely this is all coming from the Koch brothers or the wealthy people that's backing these politicians. But yeah, if an elderly person had to go to the doctor and pay $50 or even $25 every time they go to the doctor, and I know from seeing my mama, she have sometimes two, three, four doctor visits a week. And so they only getting like 700 a month. So they spend $100 in 1 week, or $200 in 1 week on copays. Then that's taken away from that $700. So now they down to like $600 or $500 to live off of for the month. And their rent is probably going to be something like $300 if they stand in some kind of assistant home to where the rent is lower. So this is kind of cruel to old folks, which, as we know, the wealthy don't want to pay any taxes. They want the poor and the middle class to pay all the taxes. But the other thing that they did to the Medicare and Medicaid in Indiana was cut people off who didn't pay their copay or who were late on payments of paying the copay. So they cut them off for 6 months. And so I'm like, wow, you're going to cut an elderly person off for 6 months for being late on a payment or missing a payment. That's kind of cruel, for a group of Republicans to be saying, let's make America great again. But actually, they're going to create a bunch of programs and plans that shift the responsibility from the wealthy to the poor. And here we go again, right back down memory lane to where the country is going in debt, but the rich people are getting richer. The wealthy people, I should say, are getting richer, but the country is going into further debt, and nobody seems to care, and people are getting sick and dying, and no one cares as long as they make their money. Just like these people right here, who knows what they own, or most likely they just mad that they pay a lot of taxes. And one thing Republicans always say is the poor sitting at home on public assistance collecting the money while they pay it, which is crazy because wealthy people ain't the only one that pay taxes. So middle class could be paying for the poor people to be on public assistance. Who knows? They'll never tell you the truth. But at the same time, just a heads up that Mike Pence is now in office as the vice president, and this was the law that he implemented in Indiana. Copay for Medicare Medicaid, and if you missed the payment, you kicked off for 6 months. And that's 6 months of time one of these elderly people could die. So kind of cruel, but do the Republicans care? Most likely not. But leave me a comment and let me know what you think, and help the elderly as much as you can if you are able to. All right.